At this time, we would like to welcome and we appreciate the presence of the Honourable Prime Minister, and we welcome him to the podium to speak to us at this time.
I wish for us to stand for a brief moment of silence in recognition of the death of His Excellency, our former President, Mr. Vernon Shaw. His Excellency, Mr. Charles Savre, President of Dominica, and Mrs. Savre, the Honourable Alex Boyd Knight, Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honourable Dr. John Collin McIntyre, Minister for Trade, Employment and Diaspora Affairs, my other Cabinet colleagues, Bishop Bill Daniel, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, permanent secretaries, members of the business community, invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and very importantly, or more importantly, I should say, those who will be beneficiaries of this very ambitious program, the National Employment Program of Dominica. Let me greet you and say good morning to all of you. First, let me, on behalf of my wife, express our appreciation to the thousands of Dominicans who have expressed in one form or another their joy and well wishes at the birth of our son, Dimitri. Former U.S. First Lady and Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, is credited for the adage that it takes a community to raise a child. I support that view and hereby solicit the involvement and support of the Dominican public in the upbringing of my two sons. Ladies and gentlemen, this event this morning was born out of a recognition by the Cabinet of Ministers that it is the responsibility of society at large to help mold and develop current generations of young, enterprising Dominicans. Your government could have easily hidden behind the veil of global economic recession and related shortfalls in government revenue as a reason for seeming inaction. But we recognize that as much as we have an economy to build and sustain, we also have a society to mold and protect. And it is for this reason that the National Employment Program is born. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to make it clear from the outset that from a purely economic perspective, the government of Dominica can least afford this initiative. We were motivated solely by fiscal considerations and the need to do right by economic advisors at home and abroad, I could think of dozens of arguably more pressing and perhaps equally deserving causes to which this well over $7 million could have been allocated. Indeed, the purists among us would argue that the money is not being put in a productive use. But I humbly beg to differ with that view. As Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, I recognize the need not only to balance spreadsheets and arithmetical projections, but also to keep the hopes and ambitions of our young people alive and fertile. I firmly believe that for development to be meaningful, it must first be balanced. In this regard, I made it clear to my ministers that I was not minded to preside over an economy that treated to the needs and preferences of multilateral lending institutions and agencies, but overlooked the dashed hopes, dreams, and aspirations of our citizens, young people in particular. Social and economic development must go hand in hand, and today I consider the National Employment Program of Dominica the perfect mix. Through no fault of theirs, today's high school, college, and university graduates have inherited a global phenomenon of unemployment and underemployment. Many of the industrialized countries of the world are slowly emerging from what has clearly been the worst economic recession in the last century. But that does not take away from the mental anguish that millions of young people the world over have had to endure as they sat in an unproductive state, not realizing their career dreams or life's potentials. The Dominica experience has been quite similar. This government, on assuming office in 2000, made it a point to prioritize the importance and provision of tertiary education. Not every one of our children is inclined to go the academic route, but we felt that those who wanted to develop their skills, whether in academia, the arts, or other vocational disciplines, should have been encouraged to do so. In the United States in particular, there was a phenomenon in the 1990s known as baby boomers, where an entire new generation of Americans emerged from the post-Cold War era. Today in Dominica, we're witnessing the emergence of a college and university boomers, where the byproduct of 14 years of consistent investment in educational children is beginning to manifest itself and impact the local employment sector. As adults and decision makers in our country, we cannot wish our young people away because there is and finances are limited. They are our children, our relatives, our neighbors, and friends. We owe it to them to create and give them a positive start of life. So, notwithstanding the ravages of the global economic recession, the government of the Dominica Labour Party recognized that our trained and skilled young people and women, young men and women, have kept the end of the bargain by graduating and qualifying of themselves for meaningful places in the job market. We feel very strongly that society as a whole must acknowledge and reward them for this. Just as we readily embrace the contributions of our seniors, so too must we applaud the efforts and application of our young people. Yes, there are few, and I must stress here that it is a small minority that has gone astray. There are those who have become distracted and gotten involved in various aspects of antisocial behavior. But the vast majority of our Dominican young people walk the straight and narrow path. They are decent young people deserving of an opportunity. They kept the end of the bargain and went to school, applied themselves, and are now prepared and willing to contribute to the growth and development of this country. We as adults have a duty to assist them in so doing. As I said earlier, these are difficult times and resources are slender. But then I ask myself the question, how much longer can we afford to contain or stifle the creative geniuses of our young people? Notwithstanding the pronouncements of the naysayers, there are clear and positive indicators and projections of economic acceleration in the months ahead. In every sphere of economic activity, particularly tourism, agriculture, banking, and other services, prospects for the next 12 to 18 months are very good. We have, for example, several projects: hotel construction, geothermal project, major roadworks, the new hospital, to name a few. But notwithstanding these exciting projects, I ask myself, was it fair to ask young people who have been waiting for 1 year, 2 years, and even more, to wait another 18 months? The answer was clearly no. We decided that we had to bite the bullet and become the catalyst for the embrace and recruitment of our trained young people into the workforce. It is my hope, therefore, that this opportunity will be grasped and jealously guarded by the beneficiaries. Young people, let me give you a bit of advice. Dominica is a relatively small place and word gets around very fast and easily. Notwithstanding all the training and qualifications you have, if you become known as having a bad attitude or for unpunctuality or any other trait not becoming of a model employee, I warn you this morning that word will get around. If you perform badly in the government service, when you go to Scotiabank or Fort Young or Marpin or Whitchurch for a job, do not be surprised if your interviewer already knows of all the reasons why you should not be hired. I urge all recruits in this national employment program, therefore, to be on your P's and Q's in the weeks and months ahead. You are being monitored, you are being observed. There will always be scope and room in Dominica and the world over for model employees. Employees who are willing to go the extra mile, who get to work on time, and who do not sit impatiently waiting for the 4 o'clock hour to stampede through the door. They are existing, and there will be new employers in Dominica on the lookout for recruits who are innovative and enterprising. Recruits who do not do what they are assigned, but who are also keen to learn and to familiarize themselves with procedures outside the four walls of the remit. My admonition to you today, therefore, is to strive at all times in the weeks and months ahead to be among those considered excellent potential and talent by discerning onlookers. You will discover in the months ahead that it does not matter where you came from, what type of upbringing you had, or sometimes, in many respects, how academically qualified you are. What is crucial in the world of work are aptitude and attitude, a willingness to work hard and the ability to get along with others. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not only the hundreds of recruits to whom we are looking for inspiration, fairness, and honesty. I am also keen this morning to speak to employers and supervisors, both in the public and private sector. Fellow employers, these recruits are joining your company, or in the case of the government service, your department, to learn, to impress, and to contribute. They are not coming to run errands or to do odd jobs around the office. Many of them are highly trained and skilled, and they need an opportunity to put their theory into practice. They need to apply what they have grasped from years of study and training to the actual working environment. I was reading recently where the scandals associated with internship in the United States are huge. The Miami Herald of Tuesday, November 26, carried an excellent article in which the author appealed to business community at large not to overlook the value of interns. Indeed, he said, they would do so at great peril. I read in that article where a young college graduate, new to the state of New York, found herself pushed beyond what she could bear, forced to work by a big corporation on Wall Street for a compensation of exactly zero. She said she cried herself to sleep at least 3 nights a week. Among her requested undertakings was loading a supervisor's books into a car and taking them to the bookstore for resale. Also, picking up dry cleaning and fetching juice on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be able to boldly say, 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now, that type of flagrant abuse of interns did not happen in Dominica under the National Employment Program. These young people are joining your workforce, are coming to learn, but they're also bringing new skills, techniques, and approaches. Many of them have a new skill set that your company and Dominica in general are in need of and would do well to adopt. Several of them have traveled and lived abroad. They have friends across the world and are familiar with modern trends and techniques. They are products of the smart world generation with an infinite knowledge of social media. Employers, you stand to benefit and to learn a lot from them. I want this National Employment Program to be a win-win for all concerned. We felt we owed it to you, our young people, to get them off the block and out of their parents' homes. We heard them when they said they were frustrated, losing faith and enthusiasm. Jobs are not easy to come by in today's economic environment because of the slump in business and the need to contain payroll expenses. But businesses in both public and private sectors are in need of new ideas, new approaches, new energy, and innovation. This National Employment Program was conceptualized and has been structured to reflect and address these mutual needs and objectives. We want you working as a team. Employers and supervisors, the recruits need you. New entrants to the job, you need employers, you need department heads, you need managers and supervisors. You will only taught some aspects of what is to be done, can be done. A crucial component of the learning curve is experience, and that cannot be had by studying alone. So I urge all sides to cooperate in the venture and let Dominica, once again, be the shining example of how small island states can look within for solutions to mounting social and economic challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud and excited this morning to officiate at the commencement of this National Employment Program. When we spoke about it a few months ago, the naysayers said it could not and would not happen. Others came back a few weeks later and said it had been promised but not delivered. Notwithstanding all the negative vibes, I am happy today to embrace the start of the National Employment Program of Dominica. From tomorrow, and certainly from the next week or two, as teething problems are ironed out, hundreds of persons, never having worked before, will cross the employment line for the very first time. Today, we salute and congratulate Minister Dr. John Collin McIntyre, Permanent Secretary Ms. Careen Provost, Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Coordinator for the Trade and Employment Expo, and Mr. Alexander Stevenson and the staff of the Ministry of Employment, Trade, Industry and Diaspora Affairs for a job well done in getting this program up and running in a few short weeks. I also appreciate the magnanimity of employers in the private sector in particular, but also those in the government service who readily embraced the idea of facilitating this initiative. As I said earlier, I am confident this will be a win-win for all concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great day for Dominica and for our young people. We have come up with a homegrown plan for tackling one of our most pressing social and economic needs. It's economically positive because we all know these 500 plus young people are going to do quite a lot of shopping this Christmas and beyond. And I will say that we were all once young. And as much as we will impress upon them the need to save, I know that many will want to flex their spending muscles on family and friends. So there should be good spin-off for local businesses as well. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited about the commencement of this initiative. Let me forewarn you that I intend to visit several of the companies employing these new recruits just to see how things are going and how things are performing. Because the people who have been employed are not to be employed to pick up and drop off your kids at school. They're not to take your groceries to your homes. They're not to babysit for you. They're not to go and fetch the healthy sandwiches they sell at the various restaurants in Dominica. They're there to help you build your business. So I do hope that we will recognize the importance of these young, talented, aspiring recruits who will be at your workplace. Of course, we are now in the month of December, and it is not too early for me to wish each and every one of you a happy Yuletide season. Let us put the politics and other indices of division aside and celebrate the days and weeks ahead in love and unity. Dominica is today a wonderful place for us all to live and enjoy. Let us be proud of and celebrate that very, very simple fact. I wish you, my young people of Dominica, all the best. And I will say as Prime Minister of this country that this program shall be sustained financially. And I will be held responsible for ensuring that it is sustained financially. And I have said to my friend, the Minister, Dr. McIntyre, and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, that salaries must be paid on time. And so systems must be put in place, and have already been put in place, to ensure that at the end of the month, you get your salary just like the rest of us have been receiving for the last 12 years under this Dominica Labour Party, on time and in time. So God bless you. I wish you all the best. I'm really, really excited about this, that well over 500 people can be employed today, because we have to look out for the young people of this country. Those who have really worked hard, those who have taken loans to study, should never be left stranded. And if it means that we have to put aside a physical project to keep it sustained, we shall do so. And I am very, very pleased, and I thank God for not this small mercy, but this huge mercy. Thank you, and God bless you.